My parents canceled my graduation party for my sister's feelings, so I left, and months later, they watched my Stanford success on the news. I was supposed to graduate with my master's degree from UCLA on a Saturday in June. My parents had been planning the party for months. My mom bought decorations early, and my dad kept bragging to relatives about finally having a Stanford-level kid in the family. My aunt ordered catering from this expensive barbecue place we used for weddings and major birthdays. For once, I thought maybe they were genuinely proud of me. Then my sister Emily got dumped 3 days before graduation. Her boyfriend left after 5 years together, packed his stuff while she was at work, and moved to Seattle with another woman from his office. By Thursday night, Emily was back at my parents' house crying on the couch, while my mom sat beside her, rubbing her back like she was recovering from surgery. I felt bad for her. I really did. But Friday afternoon, my mom called me while I was picking up my graduation tickets. "We're canceling the party," she said. I actually laughed because I thought she was kidding. "What? Emily's having a really hard time," Mom said softly. "A celebration right now would feel insensitive." I stood outside the campus building, holding those tickets while families nearby took graduation photos. "So move it to next weekend. We already canceled everything." That answer irritated me immediately because it meant they made the decision without even asking me first. My dad got on the phone after that. "Your sister needs support right now," he said. "You understand, not you. Her. Always her." When I got home that night, half the decorations were already gone from the dining room. My dad was carrying folding chairs back into the garage without looking at me. Emily sat wrapped in a blanket watching reality TV. The second she saw me, she started crying again. "I'm sorry," she whispered. But honestly, she didn't sound sorry. Dinner that night was miserable. My mom spent almost the entire meal talking about Emily's emotional state, while my graduation barely got mentioned once. Then my dad said, "A party would feel inappropriate anyway." That was the moment something in me shut off completely. Not yelling, not anger, just done. After everyone went to sleep, I packed 2 duffel bags, grabbed my laptop, and left before sunrise. Nobody stopped me. I moved into my friend Jason's apartment in Pasadena and focused on preparing for Stanford. I'd been accepted into a competitive AI research fellowship months earlier, but I never celebrated it much around my family. Every achievement somehow became a problem for Emily. When I got better grades in college, my parents told me not to discuss academics too much because it hurt her confidence. When I landed an internship at NVIDIA, my dad told me to stay humble because Emily still couldn't find stable work. When I bought myself a used Tesla with internship money, my mom asked me not to park it in front of the house because it made Emily feel behind. Everything in my family revolved around protecting her feelings, so I stopped revolving with them. I barely answered calls after moving out. My mom left voicemails asking if I was still upset. My dad texted once saying, "Family comes first." I ignored it. Stanford started in September. The workload was brutal, but I loved it. For the first time in my life, I was surrounded by people who didn't treat ambition like a personality flaw. Nobody asked me to make myself smaller so someone else could feel comfortable. By spring, my research team developed a wildfire prediction model that started getting attention outside campus. One professor submitted it to a national innovation showcase, and eventually a regional news station came to interview us. I almost skipped the interview because I hate cameras, but one of my teammates convinced me. The segment aired on a Thursday night. Halfway through dinner, my phone exploded with notifications. Mom calling, dad calling, Emily calling. Even relatives I hadn't heard from in months were texting screenshots from the news. Finally, my dad sent, "Why didn't you tell us any of this?" I stared at the message for a long time. Then my mom texted, "We had no idea you were doing something this important." That one almost made me laugh because they did know. They just never paid attention unless Emily was falling apart. 2 days later, my parents drove to Palo Alto without warning me. I saw them standing outside the engineering building when I left class. My mom rushed over smiling like nothing had happened. "We saw you on TV," she said proudly. My dad looked around campus and nodded. "This place is incredible." Emily wasn't there. Interesting how that worked. We sat outside near the fountain while they asked questions they should ask years earlier. What companies were recruiting me? Was I staying in California? What exactly was my project? Then my dad smiled and said, "We always knew you'd be successful." I reached into my backpack and handed my mom an envelope. Inside was the canceled graduation party invoice my grandmother accidentally mailed me months earlier while reimbursing my parents. At the bottom was my mother's handwritten note, "Need to cancel. Our daughter is going through something more important right now." Mom's face changed instantly. Dad read it silently over her shoulder. Then I stood up. "I paid Grandma back for the graduation gift," I said calmly. Didn't feel right keeping it. Neither of them said anything after that. A month later, I accepted a job offer worth more money than both my parents earned combined. I didn't tell them. They found out on LinkedIn like everybody else.